Hello there, this is Randy again, and what I have today is a batch of bracelets that I have made. Most of these were made a good 10 years ago, but I thought it would be fun to drag them out and sort of show you the different things that I've done. First, this is just a aluminum. It's a wire that has a texture to it, and I just wove it around. Actually, I used a bracelet making jig, and it's just a simple bangle. I guess you would actually now say that this was brutalist type of style. That seems to be popular now. Very lightweight. Now this one is sari silk. I made a base with paper, and then I just simply glued and wrapped the sari silk threads on. I think it's kind of neat. Very colorful. Cutting of the paper I made, and simply a page out of a magazine and fold it, glue the ends together and wrap it around a mold, glue them, and this outer rim is actually one of the pages of the magazine, and I left it showing for the design. And then I simply painted the inside with a white chalk paint and then put a sealer on it. So it feels like silk, and if it gets a little wet, it's not going to hurt it. I thought it made a pretty neat kind of bangle. Now the sealant has yellowed just a little bit on the outside, but it kind of gives it an aged look. Then here's another that I made out of paper. Now this one I started with a wider strip, and then as I kept going around I started coming in, and I rather liked can you see them? I rather liked the natural design that gets created from the paper bits on the bracelet. This one's wide. It's really lightweight. Now I could take something like this and make it and paint it or cover it. You know, it all depends. And the inside, you can see the inside. I just left the pages. You can even see the writing, but I just coated it, so it's a moisture-free surface. Now, you know I do the crocheting of wire, and these are two that I did on copper wire, and they were chunks of a blue quartz, which I really love. So here these are. I love these these square chips. I think they make a really nice bracelet. This one is simply seed beads in a beautiful iridescent peacock color, and I used oval shaped memory wire, and I put little dangles on the end. And of course we get into these by wrapping. Very simple. Those are very easy to make. This is another memory wire. I would say this is probably my least favorite. These are just some tiger eye chips. It's a pretty heavy bracelet. And I don't know if I'll leave it this way. To me, I don't have as much glow in the tiger eye. There's more brown. So I'm not as happy with the effect. But it's a very nice stone basic bracelet. Some more of the beaded crochet, and I forgot to do these when I did my seed bead film. This one is just a multi. And this one is I crocheted a long string of a very old silver lined crystal seed beads, so they're old looking. And then I took that crocheted line and I shoved it on a piece of memory wire. So what I have is something like this. Now, then I did a lot of work with wire. So this is a copper tube, and I hammered it flat, and I folded the edges. Then I thought it needed some contrast, so I wrapped a silver tone wire with a bronze colored wire over it. So here's just a simple copper cuff. The next copper cuff I've got, I think this is actually brass. I've got two of them. And these were made on molds, flat pieces. They're blanks. They're called blanks. This one's a little wider but thinner, and this one is a little heavier. Now, Vintage, Vintage, makes a lovely set of cream and liquid paints that mimic corrosion or patina. And so that's especially what I did on this one. I put the blue cream on and then wiped some of it off so that it would dry with kind of a verdigris pattern. This one I hammered a little bit, and you can see it has a few dimples. And then I again put on the cream, and you can see that it filled in the dimples and gave it kind of a mottled effect. So there's some cuffs. That one's really lightweight. Then I made an attempt at making my own cuff. And this is simply following a picture I saw in a book. And I took copper wire and I put the two, curled the pieces on the end, measured them, put them together, tied them, and then started wrapping. I left this one as is. I can make it a little smaller. It's real easy to bend. Now, using this same principle, I used a harder brass wire, but on this one I put stones, beads. Now these are called African turquoise. They are a dyed material. They're not turquoise. But they have this neat green and greeny blue color. Again, it's got the little curled edges. Now these are pretty rustic, I admit, but they're eye-catching. And again, I can squeeze it a little bit and make it fit a little better. Now this one was fun. What this is, this chain comes like this, and it's a chain stretched on some elastic cord. And I took these little agates, these beautiful little agates, and each one I put on a head pin, but some of them I did like a little wire wrap, and this one has a little curly Q at the end. This one has a little curly Q at the top, another one wrapped. This one's plain. This one's plain, this one's plain. So some are plain and some are fancier. It's an agate cha-cha bracelet. Then these two cuffs. This one is a very thick piece of copper wire, and I cut it to the length I wanted and filed the edges. Then I bent it on a mandrel that actually my husband made for me. But then again, I wanted it to have more texture, so I took a brass, gold, and a silver tone wire and wrapped around it to give it a more organic look. This last cuff is just a good healthy hunk of copper wire, and I think I started curling it around a dowel, and I can't remember exactly. It was more of a booger to make, but this one is just a big cuff. Now these last two, or three rather, these are stretchy bracelet with little spacers, and these are the glass. I have boxes of these glass, and it's sort of reminiscent of these are Italian glass, kind of like the African trade beads, but not exactly, but they're the cane glass, so they've got, if you look, you see the little cane goes through and creates the stripes. So I picked out as many as I could of the similar color with a focal and the blue, and then I picked out red, white, and blue. So here's a little teeny one, here's a bigger one for a focal, but they all coordinate. These are bracelets that I've made. Actually, any of these are available. If anybody has any interest, just fire me off a comment in the comment section, or go ahead and send me an email. They're not going to be expensive at all. In fact, I really love to get them off my display wall. But thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all in the chats.